Hey guys, how is it all going? So, thank you for joining me for what is The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 3 review. And I just have to talk about this straight away, so I'm just going to dive into it. Episode 3 is one of the most heartbreaking, gut wrenching, best episodes of TV I think I've ever seen. And I know that's a very bold statement to make because over the years there's been so many fantastic shows and so many amazing single episodes within them shows. So many. I know that from like Game of Thrones to Breaking Bad to Sopranos. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You could make an argument for any of them. You really could. But honestly, I've never had an episode of television hit me so hard as what episode 3 of The Last of Us did. And I am convinced by the end of this season, this is going to be the best TV show I have ever seen. It would have to drastically drop off in quality from now on till the end of this series, but I just don't see it. So I'm going to do this review a little bit differently. Like normally I've dived into the episodes a little bit and spoke about certain things. I'm not going to do that with this episode because I really do feel like you have to watch this without really knowing much. And the only thing I will say about this episode that isn't a spoiler because the makers put it out there already. I think for us gamers that love The Last of Us game to just make us aware that episode 3 about Bill was drastically different to what it is in the game. And it is drastically different. But I think it's a situation where they've completely deviated from the game in this episode. But it still works, and it works beautifully because it's such a beautifully told story. And by the end of this episode, guys, honestly, Last of Us has made me cry in every episode, but I don't think I cried as hard as what I did watching episode 3. I was a blubbering mess. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm really not. So, the Big Bill was a big part of the game in The Last of Us. And Bill and Frank's relationship was only hinted at extremely briefly in the game. And the way in the TV show they've expanded what was just like a throwaway comment into this beautiful love story between these two human beings. It's just something I did not expect. I did not expect this episode to go the way it did. I'm not going to lie to you though. Am I a little disappointed I didn't get some of what happened in the game with Bill in this series? Yeah, I am. I would be lying to myself if I didn't say that to you guys because it's one of my favourite parts of the game is when Bill is involved and he's interacting with Joel and Ellie, especially with Ellie. I wanted to see some of that in the series. We didn't get it. And you know what? I'm perfectly happy with that because what they gave us was just beautiful. So, yes, while I am slightly, sliver, a little bit disappointed, it doesn't matter ultimately at the end of the day because I love what they gave us. And it's basically, this episode is a love story between Bill and Frank and how they met and watching their relationship grow over a course of, I think it's about 15, 17 years. And ultimately to the end of the relationship, which I'm not going to get into. You need to experience it for yourselves, seriously. It just, how can I put this? Here we are. The Last of Us. Game, TV series, whatever. There's monsters in it. you know, and it's about apocalypse and there's action and it's exciting and things like that. But at the heart and the core of Last of Us, it's basically about love and about relationships. And if ever there was an episode that can capture the spirit and the heart of what the Last of Us is, episode 3 is that. You know, in a world that's completely gone to shit, and it really has. And there's certain moments in this episode where, like, if you knew it was already a harsh world or when crap was going down, like, it just nothing was ever going to be the same again. There's one moment in this near the beginning before we meet Bill where it gets highlighted a little, you know, briefly, and it's very powerful. And if you've already seen the episode, guys, you just know what I'm talking about. But it hammers it home a little bit, and that was a hard watch. A little bit of a hard watch, just what they hinted at and, you know, what happened. But in this harsh world, if you can find love with another human being and be able to share just a natural, beautiful side of what it's like for us as human beings, it gives everyone hope. You know what I mean? It gives you hope in your own life to think, if Bill and Frank can find that in that world, then I'll be all right. I'll be all right. You know, I just, it was beautiful, and it was gut wrenching, that I've said before, but I think I've said beautiful about 15, 20 times in this review, but it truly was. And if you haven't seen episode 3 yet, guys, have them tissues ready. And if you don't cry during this episode, you've got an absolute heart of stone. You really do. But I know that there's people that are waiting for The Last of Us to finish so they can start it and binge it, which is absolutely cool. Like, I wish I could do that. I really could, but man, I have to watch this show every week. Like, I have to. I couldn't not watch it. So you won't be surprised to hear, guys, this episode again, episode 3, is a 5 out of 5. And I will say this is my favourite episode of this series so far. And like I said at the start of this video, I think it's one of the best episodes of television I have ever seen. And shout out to Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, and I hope I haven't got his name wrong, that played Bill and Frank in this episode. They were absolutely magnificent in this series. And obviously, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey continue to knock it out the park and do their thing as Joel and Ellie. I'm such a happy Last of Us fan. I think I've said that after the end of every review for this. But yeah, guys. Yeah. Heartbreaking television. So, guys, have you seen episode 3 yet? What did you think of the episode? Let me know in the comments below, guys. It is absolutely always a pleasure hearing from you. And, as always, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you again real soon. Take care, guys. Goodbye now.